parameter is another type of parameter in Power BI that is very interesting. It allows you to test different scenarios and you can dynamically see the changes in different values, right? You can model different scenarios and see the impact with your visuals. Now, let's take a very good look at this example. Now, you want to change the prices of products in your organization and you want to dynamically, filter or slice and dice based on different percentages to see the impact of the changes that you are making as per increase or decrease in the price of your product, to see how they impact profits, to see how they impact total sales, to even see how they impact total quantity ordered, right? So you can use these what if parameters to test the different scenarios and see how your numbers dynamically change, right? Now let's go ahead. How does it work? How it works is that you create a parameter and your calculations are going to reference these parameters, right? They reference the parameter, and when they reference the parameter, then you can now create a slicer or what you call a slider, depending on what you want to call it, right? And you now use that to test different scenarios. And you use that to test different scenarios. Now, why is it even important for me to know what the parameter? It's important because business make decisions, and in their decision making, they might want to showcase different scenarios and see the outcome of these different scenarios, right? So, in helping to influence decision making, right, it's important for you to know this so that you can help them to showcase the different scenarios. And the good thing is that you don't need to even add code values, right? Because you can dynamically change values in your slicer and see the impact with your visuals. Very, very interesting. Now, the next thing is, how do I create one? And the how you create one is by going to the modeling tab in your Power BI desktop. Now, when you get to the modeling tab, the next thing is that you click on parameters. When you get to parameters, two options will appear. Is either you create the what if parameter based on feed range or based on numeric value. So depending on which of the two do you want to create your what if parameter on. So I'm going to show you different examples based on numeric values, based on feed range. I'm even going to show you how to even use top end DAX function. Let's dive into my screen and you see what I'm talking about. So guys, I am now in my Power BI desktop and I want to show you how to start creating your own what if parameter. So in this first example, I'm going to show us something very interesting. Now, if you look at my tables here, you will see that I have all these tables. The sales table is my fact table, and other dimensions that I have here as product subcategory, promotion, product category, channel, channel manager, my calendar, and I have a table called AshDAX. In this my AshDAX table, what you see is that I have all the measures. All my measures are there: total profit, total sales, total orders, maximum sales in a day, right? And now, instead of me, if I want to see total sales by channel, by different date attributes, total sales by channels, total sales by city, total sales by manager, total sales by product category, total sales by promotion, and all of, I want to see that, right? And I don't want to, start creating different charts for that, right? And I want to also do that across other measures, across all these different dimensions. So how do I do that? Now, this is what I'm going to do. Let me show you that. So I'll come to, for example, I can create different charts here. For example, I'm going to start with let me start with my column bar charts or clustered bar charts, right? And what I'm going to just put there, I'm just going to put my channels. I'm going to put my channel name here, right? I'm not going to put anything here for now. I'm not going to put anything here. Okay, so let me bring in another chart and just call this one. Let me use zone. Let me bring in the zone here, right? Let me bring in the zone. This is a clustered column chart. The other one is a clustered bar chart, right? Let me bring in maybe a donut chart. Let me bring in a donut chart, and maybe I probably just put manager name. Interesting. I put manager name, and let me bring in another chart. Maybe probably a clustered column chart again. Oh, what did I do? Sorry, guys. So I'll bring in another chart now. Probably a clustered column chart. But let me just even copy this and paste it, so I don't have to be doing that again. And I'll just maybe this one will be based on what else do I have? I have channel zone manager, and let me just bring year. Let me bring in the year. I remove this one. Good. Now, the next thing I'm going to do now is to create this parameter, right? Now, how do I do that? I'm going to click on my modeling tab here, and I'll click on new parameter, and I'm going to click on feeds, right? I'll click on feeds. Now, when I get to this feed part, right, it's going to ask me, what do I want to name my parameter? I can leave it as parameter, you can give it a name. So here now, I'm going to change it to metrics, or I can even call it major metrics. I can call it major metrics, right? Now, when I get to major metrics, after calling it major metrics, the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in all the metrics that I want to showcase. That I want to filter by all of these different dimensions. Then I have my total sales. I can bring my profits, my total orders. And let me just do this one for now. I'm going to show you how you can actually add. In case you didn't have one at the beginning, you can go back to, add anyone that you didn't have from the beginning, right? So after doing this, I'm going to check box this add slicer to the page, and I'm going to click on create, right? Good. And what you will see, you're going to see this slicer. Now, and you're also going to see the DAX expression behind this slicer. Now, I'm going to come here and just try to reduce this one, good. The next thing I'm going to do is that for all the charts, the empty charts that I have here, that I created here, what I'm going to do now is to, instead of putting the value, different measures, instead of putting them in each chart, what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to replace them with the parameter that I created, which is the major metrics. So I'm going to put the major metrics in each of the charts, right? So I'm going to put it, so I'm going to place them in each of the charts. Or it's supposed to show under x-axis here, right? Then I'm going to come here also. I'm going to also drop it on this one, right? Let me put it under values, right? I'm also going to come to this one too, and I'm going to drop it under y-axis, right? Also, I'll come to this zone here, and I'm going to drop it on the y-axis. Now, the good thing here is that you see when I click on it, I'm seeing total sales now by year, total sales by zone, total sales by channel name, total sales by manager. It means that I don't have to start creating all of these charts one by one, right? I can see different metrics based on all of these different dimensions. This is very, very interesting. So I click on total profit now, and all the charts has changed to total profit by different dimension, by year, by zone, by channel name, by manager name. Interesting, right? Total orders also, you see, it has changed all the values in each of the charts to total, because I'm currently selecting total orders, right? Now, I said in case you did not have a metric, how can you go back to add it now? And when I click on this comes out, right? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to put a comma here. Put a comma, I just follow the same pattern, right? And I'll call this one max sales in a day. Maximum sales I have in a day, comma, and say name of, use the name of function, right? Name of, then you're going to call out that particular measure, max sales in a day, right? And you put a comma, close the brackets, just follow the same pattern, and you put a comma, then 3, this one's going to be 3 now. You close the brackets and you put a comma, right? So you don't put a comma because this is the last one, right? And you click on commit, right? By this now you have added the max sales in a day as part of the parameter that you just created, the feed parameter. So I click on this max sales in a day, and you see how everything is just changing based on what I selected in this slicer. Is that not interesting? And does it not make work easy for you? It makes everything very easy, right? Now let's go to the second example, which is a little more advanced than this first example. Now in this second example, let's assume that I want to showcase the top 10 product, the top 15 products based on the values that is changing in my slicer, right? So how am I going to go about this? I'm going to show you that in the next 5 to 6 minutes. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another what if parameter. I go into the modeling tab, then I click on new parameter, and this time around I'm going to click on numeric range. Numeric range. I click on numeric range. Now it's asking me what will your variable adjust. So you can still change it here in case if you pick numeric change and you want to change it back to fits, right? So I leave it as numeric range. Now I can also come here and call the parameter, let me just call it metrics. I don't want to call it the same name, so it won't cause confusion. So I call it metrics, right? And my data type is going to be whole number. in this scenario. It can be decimal number, it can be fixed decimal number. It depends on what you are trying to showcase, the kind of scenario you are trying to model, right? So I click on whole number here, right? And let's say the minimum is going to be 1, of course, right? It's going to be 1, and maybe probably the maximum can be, maybe let's say 25. Right? Is 25 not too much? No, let me use probably okay, let me just stick with 25, it's fine. Then what is my increment value? My increment value is going to be 1, and the default value that will be on the slicer, right, for this parameter is 1, right? So checkbox this to actually add the slicer to the page, right? After you are done, configuring all of these inside these parameters, what's it called, window, right? Then you click on create. Interesting. So when you click on create, you will see your slicer here. You can put it on the top, and you see that if you can change this by different you can change it based on different, what's it called, different numbers between 1 to 25, because that was what you created. But another interesting part of this is that you can actually go back, right? You can actually adjust it. In case I want to increase it to 30, for example, maybe I want to increase it to 30, I can come in and just increase it to 30, and I'm just going to click on commit now, right? And with this now, it will increase my range from 1 to 30. So it doesn't have to be that whatever you created with at the beginning, you cannot change it. No, you can always go back and edit. Now, interesting part is this. Let me show you something. Now, when I created that parameter based on numeric range, what did you see? What you are seeing here is not just the expression that generates that range and the increment. You're also seeing a table here. Now, let me go back. Let me go to my table view, right? Let me go to my table view. Let me click on metrics, and you will see that I have a table. So it's giving me two things now. It's giving me the DAX expression, and I also have a table. I have 1 to 30. If I change it here, for example, again, if I change it to 25 and I press enter, you are going to see that it's going to be 1 to 25. So you are seeing a table at the same time seeing the DAX expression that forms the table. But that's not the only thing that I have here. I also have another DAX expression that is based on selected value. Because my default value is 1, that is why you see this one appear here, right? Selected value, this metrics table, and the metrics column, and selected value, right, as per the default, which is the 1, right? Interesting. Now, you are going to see how this is going to work out now. Now, I'm going to go back to my reports canvas. Now, when I get here, okay, this is going to be 125. Okay, when I get here, the next thing I'm going to do is this. Let me bring in my matrix table. I'll bring in my matrix table. And after bringing in my matrix table, I'm going to, for example, let's say I have product category and I want to bring in product name, right? Now, what I want to do, don't forget that what I want to achieve here is that I want to use this slicer to be able to dynamically see on this my matrix table the top 10, the top 5, the top 2, the top 15, the top 25 products, right? I want to display that on this matrix table based on probably total sales. It might be based on total orders or total quantity or profit, depending on what the metric I'm using to, showcase this top products, right? Now, the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring in my total sales, because I'm going to be, showcasing these products based on total sales, right? So to see the highest total sales, like the products by the highest total sales, I'm going to just click on here, and it's going to arrange descending to ascending. I can see that this product is the one that has the highest sales, right? Now, the next thing that I want to do now is that I want to be able to rank them based on top N DAX function. Now, I want to show you how top N works in Power BI. Now, I'm still going to come back to this screen, but before showing you how to use top N to actually dynamically see top 15, top 15, top 10, top 6, top 7, blah, blah, blah. Now, what I'm going to do now is this. Let me go to my table view, and I'm going to probably create a new table. I'm going to create a new table just to show you how top N works in Power BI, right? So in this new table, I'm going to call it top product, for example, top product, and I'm going to say equals to, and I will say top N, right? Top N is that function that gives you the top rows based on different criteria, or based on a particular criteria that you are using to actually filter these top rows in a table, right? So what I want to return is I'm returning a table, and I say top n, and it's telling me what is my n value. For example, I want to say top one, right? Top one based on what table? Based on probably let's say the product. I'm doing product category, right? So based on the product category table, right? And what I want to see is what is my order by expression. My order by expression is my total sales, right? And total sales, and I want to arrange that in descending order. It means that from the highest to the lowest, right? In descending, and I probably close my brackets and I press enter. So what it will return for you here now is returning this same thing that we got here, right? This product name that we got here, Kekule Projector, is what you are seeing here. It's returning it as per table now, right? As per calculated table, right? So you are seeing that this product name is actually as the is the one with the highest sales based on this expression that we have that we just displayed here. Now, if I want to see the top two based on total sales, for example, I'm just changing this to 2 and I press enter, and it's going to show me, the top two product based on total sales. I can decide to also dynamically change this. I can change this. I can say, okay, not based on total sales now. Let it be based on maybe total profit, right? And I commit. And what do you see? You see that, oh, it's even showing different products now, because now I've changed this to total profit, right? So it has changed, giving me the top two rows based on total sales. But what is happening here is actually context transition, because it's going to the product category table, and the total sales is evaluating based on that, because there's a connection, there's an active relationship between these two tables. That is why it is possible for me to call product category table and tell me, give me total profit. Total profit will go and the product category table will go and that total sales will evaluate, right, based on that product category table, right? So this is just an example to show you how top n DAX function works in Power BI. Now let's go back to the initial reason why I was talking to you about top n function. Now, when I already have my product name, I have my total sales. Now let me now create a measure that will help me to see products that are within the top 15, top 4, top 20, top blah blah blah, depending on how I want to showcase them. So the next thing I'm going to do now is that I'm going to go to my HDAX here, and I'm going to create a new measure. I'll be creating a new measure, and that new measure, what name can I give it? Let me say I'm going to call it let me just call it measure. Let me just call it measure. And I say measure equals to. Now, what I want to do now is this. I'm going to write a variable. The first variable will be, let me just call it dynamic top n, right? And I say equals to, right? And I'm going to call in my top n DAX function. And instead of me now putting the value, the number of the value I want to see, maybe based top 2, top 5, top this and that, I'm not do that. What I'm going to use is now the parameter that I created. Because don't forget that what I want to achieve is to be able to dynamically showcase different top products based on different measures, right? So I'm not going to call in that parameter, which is the metric value, right? The selected value, right? The metric value, comma. Now the table is the product category table, right? The product name column. So I'm going to remove all the filters by using the all function on that table and column, right? So I'm going to say product, I'll say product category, product name, right? I'll close the bracket, comma. You see that even my IntelliSense is guiding me to tell me what next, right? Now, what is my expression? My expression is total sales, right? And that is my expression, right? Okay, I can close my bracket here now. Then I'm going to write another variable, right? This second variable, I'll just call it selected products. And this is just going to be selected value of what? Of this my product name in my product category table. Okay, of this product name in the product category table. Then what I'm going to return is this. I'm going to say if, right? If my selected, what's it called? If my selected Why is that not coming out? If my selected products, if my selected, okay, I've seen that here. If my selected product, right, is in this dynamic top end, right, is in this dynamic. Oh, I didn't spell my dynamic correctly. Sorry about that. So let me just go and change it. Dynamic. That is why that one was not showing very well. So let me correct this now. If my dynamic top end. So if my selected product is not in is in dynamic top end. If the product I'm selecting is part of this top top product based on total sales, right? Then give me 1, or else return 0. So let me explain exactly what I did here. So I created a measure. What I want to achieve is that I want to know products that are actually within the top, my top end. It is my top numbers. I don't have a particular number in mind yet, because, and the reason for that is because I want to be able to dynamically use my slicer to change those top products, right, based on different numbers. So now that what I did now is, instead of hard coding or declaring a particular maybe top 1 or top 2 or top 3 or top 4, instead of hard coding my criteria, right, that will show me the top products based on total sales, I'm using the parameter that I created. The parameter that I created in by going to the modeling and going to that numeric range, right? I'm using that parameter, right? Now I'm doing that on product category column in the product product name column in the product category table, right? I'm removing all the filters. That's why I use this all, right? And the expression that I'm using to evaluate the top product is my total sales, right? Now the second variable is just based on selected value. That if this selected product that I have here, right, is in this top product based on total sales, then return 1 or else return 0. Now I'm going to just commit this. I'm going to commit this. It's becoming interesting now. Then this is my measure. I'm going to drop it inside here. And because I only have 1 on my slicer, if I increase this to 2, it's going to show. Okay, so now these two, they are sharing the third position because they have the same total sales, right? So if I increase it to 10, it will show 1 at everywhere that the product falls within that top product based on total sales, right? If I increase to this, you will see. Now, what I want to display is this. I want to display just the top products based on the numbers that I'm selecting on this slicer. So every one that is not within, any product that is not within this range, within that range, I don't want them to show here at all, right? So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go to, because my measure is already part of my matrix table. That is why it is also showing on filter on this visual. Now what I'm going to come here, right, and I will say show items when the value is 1, right? It's anywhere that it is equals to 1 is what should display on this my matrix table. Then I'm going to click on apply filter, right? Now see the interesting part. When I increase to 2 or increase to 6, it's showing the top 6 products. When I increase to 11, it's showing the top 11 products based on total sales. Interesting, right? Now the thing now is that I can actually remove this measure. I don't need it here, but it's still going to be part of my filter. The filter I've applied here is still going to stay there, even though I have removed it from my matrix table. And I'm going to remove it here, right? This filter still stays. Good. Now that I can dynamically now slice and dice, I can now see all these different top products based on total sales. How interesting. This is very, very interesting. Now, the next thing I want to do now is, let's now assume that I have 2 things now. Let me reduce this. Now, let me bring in a card chart. Let me bring in a card chart. And this is my card chart. I want to see the total sales. I'm going to bring in total sales, right? And this is the total sales for the entire sales table, for all the products inside the sales table, right? This is the total sales. But what if I want to just see total sales based on the top 15, the top 20, the top 19, blah, 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 right? And I don't want to see these total sales. Now, let me keep this one and just copy and paste, right? So I have this and I have this, right? Let me just put them beside each other. But I'm still coming here to change this. Now, to actually get the total sales based on my selected value on this my slicer, right? That's the same total sales that I have here. is what I want to also see on a card chart, right? And I don't want to see total sales for the entire sales table. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create another measure, right? I'm going to create another measure. Now, I will tell you how to dynamically, how you can write that DAX expression. It's very interesting. So I'll come here, I'll click on new measure. I'll click on new measure, and I will just call this measure total sales. But in brackets, I'm going to now put visible products. Visible products. But it is going to give me the total sales based on only products that are visible, that I can see, based on these dynamic changes I'm making with my slicer, right? So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to use the calculate. I'm going to use the calculate, and because I already have my total sales measure, I'll just call that out instead of me writing some sales, and the column that I reference for my total sales. I don't need to do all of that, right? Then I'm not going to use that same top n again. Interesting. I'm going to use top n, right? And what is my n value? My n value is the parameter, which is the metric value that I have here, right? Comma. What table am I using? The products. So I'm going to, remove all the filters, right? The product name in the products category table, just like I did the other time. And what is my order by expression? Is my total sales, right? My total sales, then I close the bracket. Now, but the issue with this is that it's just going to still return for me the same total sales that I have here. And that is not what I want. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to put an if statement, if function, right? And I'll say if is filtered. That means if this parameter table that I have, this metric table, if it is filtered, right, then this expression should take place. This expression should occur, right? It should give me the total sales based on whatever I'm selecting on the slicer, all right, as per all the products I have here and their what total sales, right? But if not, if this particular condition does not occur, if the metric table that I have here is not filtered, then it should just return for me, my total sales. It should just return for me. I'm supposed to close this one more time. So my mistake here is that I'm supposed to put, reference that metrics table. So I'm supposed to say metrics. I'm supposed to reference that table if that table is filtered, right? If the metrics table is filtered, then calculate for me total sales based on top n as per the selected value on my slicer, right? Then if not, okay, so let me close the bracket here. Then if the condition is not is false, then give me back my normal total sales measure, right? And I close the bracket and I press enter. Good. Now let me remove the total sales I have here, and let me now place in the total sales visible product. And now you can see now that total sales that I have here now is different from what I have here. This one is based on the entire sales table, and this one is based on only the top 13 that I'm selecting on my slicer. So if I change to top 16 now, it's going to show me 391351. This one is showing it as per nearest thousand. Let me change it to call out value. Let me change it to none. Good. And now you can see the value. Now, another interesting thing that I want to do before I end this video is that I want to show you how you can use your measure to write a statement, right? So how do I do that? I'm going to come here and say new measure, click on new measure, and this is my new measure now. I'm going to call it, let me give it any name. Let me call it name, or let me call it explain. I'll say explain equals to, so I will now say top, right? And I can write in the statement top, Then I'm going to call this my metric value, because I want it to dynamically change. The top, for example, top 2 products, for example, the top 2 products, the top 2, I'm going to use and again, double quotes, close double quotes, and, right? And I call products, for example, the top 2, top 1, top 15 products, right? Products, forms, right? Forms what? Forms, I'll say and, double quote again, and again, forms so I wanted to show the percentage of the selected top product based on sales, the percentage of that aggregate value in relation to the total sales, right? So I'm going to say, I'm going to use divide, and my numerator is the total sales based on visible products, right? And my denominator is the total sales measure, right? Turn 0, right? That's optional though. And what I want this to do, right? I want this to give me this in terms of percentage. So I'll say format this, right? And the format I want you to use is 00 percentage, like this, right? And then I close brackets for this. So top, for example, 15 product forms 25%, for example, and I'll say and again, right? Forms 25%, for example, of total sales, right? And again, double quote of total sales. Then I press enter. Let's see how that works. So I'm going to come here, just copy this one and paste it here, right? Then I'm going to remove whatever I have here, and I'm just going to bring in the explain, right? So top 16 products, right, forms 9% of total sales. So this will dynamically change. So when I increase to 18, it's saying that the top 18 products by total sales forms 10% of the total sales, right? If I increase it by 22, so top 22 forms 11% of total sales. If I increase to the highest, right, and top 25, the top 25 products based on total sales forms 12% of the total sales, right? So that is the example I want to show you guys on what if parameters. I'm going to be creating more videos in the future to also show you other different case scenarios where we can and how we can use what if parameters. There are different interesting ways we can use what if parameters in Power BI Desktop. So guys, I would like you to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.